Lewis Hamilton is in serious trouble. Ferrari's entire season is on the line. The FIA has just revealed post-race evidence showing Hamilton's SF25 may have violated key technical regulations. If confirmed, Hamilton could be disqualified and Ferrari could lose critical constructors' points. And the twist: Ferrari engineers had already warned the car was unstable before the race even started. Subscribe now because this revelation could completely rewrite Hamilton's first season at Ferrari. The 2025 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix marked the end of Lewis Hamilton's first season with Ferrari, a campaign filled with high expectations and persistent challenges. McLaren and Red Bull had dominated the championship, leaving Ferrari focused on salvaging points and preparing for the 2026 regulation changes. Charles Leclerc finished fourth, extracting maximum performance from a car that was fragile and narrowly tuned. Hamilton, in contrast, finished 8th after starting 16th, marking his third consecutive Q1 elimination, an unprecedented low for a driver of his caliber. Hamilton's race was a battle against the car as much as it was against other drivers. Onboard footage analyzed after the race shows him making continuous steering corrections through the high-speed Sector 3 near the hotel complex. The SF25's rear end was unpredictable, forcing constant adjustments to maintain the racing line. Unlike Leclerc, whose looser setup allowed smoother cornering, Hamilton's trail-braking and rotation-heavy style required precise rear stability, which the car failed to deliver, significantly affecting lap pace and rhythm. Radio communications during the race reveal a garage managing expectations rather than celebrating performance. Race engineer Riccardo Adami acknowledged Hamilton's recovery. P8 Lewis: "Tough weekend, but good recovery. Thank you for the effort this year." Hamilton's calm response: "Thank you guys. I know it's been hard. I'll always fight for you guys no matter what. Let's work for 2026. Get home safe," highlights the mental strain of driving a car that constantly undermined his confidence while maintaining professionalism. Post-race FIA analysis has now confirmed that Hamilton's SF25 exhibited structural and compliance anomalies. Certain components, particularly in the right rear suspension, did not behave within homologated specifications under lateral loads. While the deviations were subtle and not visually catastrophic, they constitute a potential regulatory breach under Article 11 of the technical regulations. Even minimal flex beyond declared limits is treated with zero tolerance in Formula One, making the findings significant for both the driver and the team. Leclerc's fourth-place finish further underscores the disparity within Ferrari. His car, with slightly different aerodynamic and suspension settings, maintained better balance and tire temperature management, mitigating the narrow operational window of the SF25. Hamilton, by contrast, experienced pronounced instability as track temperatures dropped, particularly during the nighttime portions of the race. This contrast highlights how even minor differences in setup and component behavior can dramatically affect car performance and driver confidence. Off-track, Leclerc issued a blunt message to Ferrari: "It's now or never." 2026 is a huge opportunity, but if we start badly, it will be another 4 or 5 years of suffering. "I cannot wait any longer. I need a winning car next year, not promises." Combined with Hamilton's mechanical struggles and the FIA's confirmation of anomalies, this statement reflects internal pressure on Ferrari, highlighting challenges in team cohesion, driver morale, and preparation for the next season. Finally, Ferrari's approach compounded the issue. The SF25 that ran in Abu Dhabi was largely unchanged from Qatar, with no new parts introduced, as resources were allocated entirely to the 2026 car development. Operating within this narrow and sensitive performance window, Hamilton's car became highly reactive to track conditions and setup variations. Coupled with the FIA's confirmed suspension anomalies, Ferrari faces a multifaceted challenge, managing a demoralized Hamilton, addressing Leclerc's frustrations, and preparing for potential sanctions while heading into the new season. The FIA's investigation into Hamilton's SF25 began immediately after the Abu Dhabi race, focusing on telemetry and sensor data. Engineers identified repeated anomalies in the right rear suspension under lateral loads, particularly through Sector 3's high-speed corners. The readings showed unexpected deflection patterns with wheel load and yaw rate varying outside homologated tolerances. Even small deviations are critical in Formula One, where compliance is measured in millimeters and legality is absolute. This prompted the FIA to proceed with detailed mechanical testing. Mechanical testing was carried out on the suspect suspension component using hydraulic actuators and calibrated load rigs, simulating real track conditions. The results confirmed that the right rear suspension flexed more than 3 millimeters beyond the declared specification under peak lateral loads. While the part did not fail structurally, this deviation was enough to breach Article 11 of the technical regulations, which strictly forbids any dynamic deformation beyond approved limits. This finding alone provides strong basis for a potential sanction. Comparison with Leclerc's SF25 was telling. Both cars were built to nearly identical specifications, yet Leclerc's rear suspension remained fully compliant throughout similar track conditions. This isolation of the anomaly to Hamilton's chassis suggested that either assembly variants, material differences, or setup-specific factors were responsible. Regardless of origin, Formula One rules hold the team accountable, not the driver, making Ferrari responsible for the legal status of every component. Video evidence corroborated the telemetry and mechanical findings. High-speed cameras captured the SF25's right rear suspension compressing more than expected during multiple laps. Frame-by-frame analysis aligned perfectly with sensor data, confirming that the mechanical behavior on track matched the deviations observed during testing. The combination of telemetry, video, and mechanical testing provided the FIA with robust evidence for a potential penalty. To further validate the anomaly, the FIA analyzed multiple laps, focusing on laps 31, 34, and 36. Each lap consistently displayed the same right rear suspension behavior, ruling out accidental damage or one-off occurrences. This reproducibility confirmed that the deviation was intrinsic to the component during normal operational conditions, fulfilling the requirements for a formal technical breach. The FIA also clarified that the penalty is independent of any performance gain. Although Hamilton finished 8th, outside podium contention, the car's deviation from homologation standards is sufficient for disqualification. Formula One regulations prioritize mechanical compliance over race results to ensure fairness and consistency across the grid. The fact that the component repeatedly operated outside its approved limits constitutes a clear breach. Finally, Ferrari faces immediate and long-term implications. Hamilton's result in Abu Dhabi is at risk of being annulled, potentially costing the team crucial constructors' points. Beyond the immediate race, the incident highlights the zero-tolerance environment of modern Formula One, where even millimeter-scale deviations trigger serious scrutiny. Ferrari must either justify the anomaly convincingly or face sanctions that could affect driver morale, team reputation, and preparation for the 2026 season. In Formula One, every suspension component is both a mechanical and aerodynamic element. The SF25's rear suspension governs ride height, pitch, and floor airflow, all of which directly affect downforce, tire contact, and car balance. Even minor deviations from the homologated behavior can alter how the car rotates through high-speed corners, impacting traction and stability. This is why the FIA enforces strict compliance. Even millimeter-scale flex can make a car illegal, regardless of whether it visibly affects performance. Hamilton's right rear suspension repeatedly flexed beyond approved limits during Sector 3, a pattern confirmed by telemetry, mechanical tests, and video footage. Article 11 of the technical regulations explicitly forbids any dynamic deformation outside declared tolerances. The rules do not consider intent or driver experience. A component's behavior alone determines legality. In this case, the data indicates that Hamilton's SF25 consistently operated outside the specification, forming the basis for potential disqualification. Hamilton's driving style further magnified the suspension's behavior. Known for aggressive trail braking and mid-corner rotation, he relies on a responsive rear end to control car rotation. The extra flex in the SF25 caused unpredictable reactions, forcing him to make continuous steering corrections to maintain the racing line. While he maintained control, the irregular component behavior revealed that the suspension was outside legal limits in a way the FIA cannot ignore. Even small deviations have a ripple effect on cornering. Millimeters of unexpected flex alter rear tire load, affect pitch, and modify floor aerodynamics, subtly changing the car's grip and handling characteristics. The repeated right-rear deflection could have influenced rotation and cornering stability, even if Hamilton managed to navigate it. Formula One's zero-tolerance policy ensures that any structural deviation, however small, is treated as a potential breach. Ferrari's setup and assembly practices are now under scrutiny. Both SF25s were built to nearly identical specifications, yet only Hamilton's car exhibited the anomaly. This suggests assembly variance, material differences, or minor setup factors influenced by Hamilton's driving style. In Formula One, the team bears full responsibility for ensuring every component complies with homologation. Drivers cannot compensate for mechanical irregularities. This incident highlights the absolute precision required in modern F1. The FIA monitors components at the millimeter level, and repeated deviations trigger investigations and penalties. Hamilton's SF25 serves as an example of how even a world-class driver and experienced engineers can be affected when a component strays from specification. The margin for error is minimal, and enforcement is strict to maintain competitive integrity across the grid. Finally, the implications extend beyond Abu Dhabi. This suspension anomaly serves as a warning for all teams heading into 2026. Part validation, assembly accuracy, and setup compliance are critical. Hamilton's potential penalty underscores the importance of mechanical conformity. Even minor deviations can have major consequences for drivers, teams, and championship standings. In Formula One, millimeters matter, and the SF25 case illustrates the stakes of precision in high-level racing.